There's not one this season, I promise you.
Right.
You never know.
How about the 6'7" senior wing that you do have? Is he,
Gonna meet with him afterwards. He's got to work out at 1:30. We're going day by day. Still has not practiced with the team. He's done workout, so.
Well, what do you have to do to play? I mean,
Be okayed by the trainer and the doctor. And his mom.
what does that mean?
Well, he would have to go through some part of practice to where they feel confident and he feels confident that he's ready to do it. And whenever that time is fine with me because I don't need him out there. You know, there's a certain amount of anxiety you have anyway, but there's still some, I think, real health issues that we're working through.
Do you have like headaches still, or
I
mean, how would you?
You know, I really don't want to get into the specific symptoms because I mean, but I know he's not asymptomatic. So I know that there are things that happen when he does work out, whether it is what I would probably, you know, I've been in a car accident without a seatbelt, you know, so, you know, you get this extreme fatigue like anybody does, like you shut down after a surgery or what, you know, I mean, like you go through a certain amount of your day and you're done. You know, you have mononucleosis and you get, you know, you start feeling better and then you decide to do something and boom, you're out. You know, so there's a certain amount of that, you know, where your body's endured trauma and now you're working through that again. You know, and lightheadedness and everything you'd have with, and headaches, everything you'd have. But I don't know exactly where he's at symptom-wise. I'd hate to say what he has and not be accurate.
So you want to go to class?
He's working with his instructors and, you know, he's only got 2 classes, which is helpful. And
Okay.
all the instructors have been really helpful.
Sometimes they just talk about that with concussion, it's like reading a book or.
Well, yeah, that's a hard one. I don't think it's talked about enough is what it does to these young guys academically. What about a true freshman or a young guy that's not an academic All-American and only has 2 classes left and it's got his act together, you know what I mean? What about those of us like me who would have been, you know, I mean, ready to flunk out, you know? And that's where, you know, even if you go through, like we have our guys that have had surgery, you know, we try and do it at breaks. You know, and still you're coming back, and let's say you have ACL surgery, and now you're clugging along to class, and you know, and your leg feels awful, and you're trying to take notes and concentrate, and you slept, you know, weird the night before. It's just, it's difficult that way, you know. But
you mean,
life is hard.
any updates on Ed?
Same as Ed, is not practiced, is not, he tells me it feels better. You know, he thought it felt pretty good a couple days ago, and then walking to the training room, literally, you know, stepped on something wrong, and it was like we were all back to square one. So
Somebody asked me, I didn't see it.
now remember, I'm not a doctor. I just play one on TV.
Yeah, or behind a microphone. How's he able to dunk in warm-ups if he's got a bad foot?
You have to ask Ed that. I mean, Ed, he can dunk pretty easy, probably from his knees. So I think it's how he lands, you know, is the bigger question. And I think RJ wants him to test it some, you know, just to see where it is. And so like you'll see him in warm-ups because if we would need him in an emergency situation, I think we could use him. So that would be his activity for the day. He wouldn't do anything in a walkthrough or anything like that, except be on a bike.
After that Indiana game, you said one of the areas you maybe missed Shavon the most was just keeping the composure together when Indiana went on that run. I guess assuming if he does not play Saturday or even beyond, how do you go about finding guys to fill that void?
I think you just address the situation just like you did. I've addressed it with the team and look for those guys. And, you know, I said, you know, okay, we want to win the last 4 games, you know, what's it going to take? And somebody had some convoluted answer, and Benny Parker says, we need to play better defense. And let's just get to the heart of the cause here. And I think that he's right, you know, that we did, you know, the things we lost track of were the smallest fundamentals, guarding the ball. Glenn Watson got knocked early real hard on a hedge. You know, kind of let that affect him defensively, kind of let it affect the shot. Then his shot wasn't falling, and then he was feeling bad. And you just got to, you know, can't major in history. You know, I mean, you just got to get past all that and keep going forward.
With as young a team as you have, Tim, do you see guys just trying to get to spring break, or do you see them having the sense that there's more to be done?
They're immature enough. They love basketball
Okay.
now, and they're not immature where they want spring break. I mean, they're great. They're junkies that way. What you see are the growing pains, I believe, which is what I just expressed. They get frustrated a little too easily that affects performance. And it doesn't take many possessions to screw it up.
Were you surprised? I mean, not yet. Glenn did struggle a lot defense. I mean, I know it was Indiana and they're really good offensively, but at this stage in the season, were you kind of surprised or disappointed to see?
I thought it was a disappointing effort defensively by more than Glenn, by about a handful of guys, I'd say, not quite that much. And I thought then later in the game, when we got it to, it was 14 or 16, we got it down to 8 again a couple times. And I don't know, maybe we had the ball once and we could have got it to less than that. But when you're getting, and then went right back up to 14 or 15. And then I thought I saw some give up in us. I thought we kind of turned it in. And that's what upset me. And that's what we addressed with the team. You can't give in to frustration. You can't give in, feel sorry for yourself. You can't get in that the ball's not going in the hole. How do you win, besides all those things. Indiana's 15-0. I remember I told my wife the day after, I'm like, I shouldn't be this ticked off about losing at Indiana. There's some things in life that are difficult to do, and when they happen, it's a fact of life, and they're a very good team. That's why they might be a conference champion. But at the same time, I just thought that night we were playing well early. There's a lot of the night that we outplayed them. You look at probably 30 to 28 of the minutes, we outscore them by 6 or 8. But that 10 to 12 minutes, they get us by 24. If you segment it out in possessions and put that into time, I don't know. That's what I'm guessing on that. But you shouldn't get drilled that bad in a small segment of possessions, and B, when you are doing well most of the night, you need to feed off that. And even though it isn't building a big lead, that's not what happens on the road. It's not like at home where all of a sudden you're up 21, whatever. You might be up 7. I tell people all the time, like, we'll talk about a game, I'm like, yeah, we kick their butts, and you'll get the final score, we win by 6 or 8. Like, yeah, you have to understand from a coach's perspective, like, we're running everything we want, right? They're not running everything they want. They're frustrated. We're aggressive. Yeah, we had a few more turnovers. A few breaks didn't go our way. And, we won by 6 or 8. Well, guess what? We did almost everything we wanted to that night. And they're a very talented team. And we whipped them, And so it's not always just this huge blow-up, and especially on the road in basketball where it's a different kind of being, And so, one of the big things, for instance, was that we said they can't score quickly. And for a long time, they didn't score quickly. And we were the aggressor. We did really well in that end. And then when they went on the run, everything they did was in the first 7 seconds of the shot clock. And that's hard to coach the first 7 seconds of the shot clock. That's usually effort. It's usually effort, focus, sprint back, match up, know what you're doing, get to your spots. And that's the hard part about basketball. It's like I say, we go from offense to defense in a blink. And football, hell, they bring out 22 new guys and call it a special team. It's a big deal.
How do you know what to expect from Ohio State?
Yeah, they'll be good. I think they're doing the old, we're not freshmen anymore. We're, that trick. And they've got extreme talent. They've got great length and athleticism, and their defense has been really, really good. They're finding ways to score. They hurt people inside with multiple people. We're going to have to be at our best in a lot of ways that aren't our strengths. So it's really going to be an interesting matchup because not everybody's going to the NCAA tournament. There's going to be other tournaments involved like the NIT. And they're only going to pick, a few teams from our league, depending on what happens with the regular season champions. And so, the games like Ohio State have a lot of added value in other areas too, and because you only play them once. And so those games like Michigan, Ohio State, Northwestern, whoever it might be, really matter, especially when you only play them once, or like at Northwestern, they beat us at our place.